Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Before I truly begin my speech, I just want to remind you all that Al-Quds Day is not just a day to remember Palestine. It's not just a day to remember to condemn and protest against Israel's occupation either. Imam Khomeini has stated that Al-Quds Day is a universal day. It does not merely center on Quds, rather it is the opposition day of the oppressed against arrogant powers. Today is the day to call out and protest the oppression that is occurring worldwide. And one such example of extreme cruelty which is currently taking place is against a persecuted minority group in Nigeria, and which is especially taking place against a 67-year-old man and his family confined within the Nigerian prisons. Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki is one of the most notable and influential Shia clerics and scholars in contemporary times, for being an outspoken activist and humanitarian, as well as for being the leader of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, an organization whose mission, among many other things, is to follow the path of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and to bring people toward their own cause. In fact, Sheikh Zakzaki himself has converted over 1 million people to the Islam of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, in a country where Shias are in a small minority and are continuously persecuted by the malicious Boko Haram, an evil terrorist group that is still active within Nigeria, as well as the corrupt Nigerian government. On one side, Sheikh Zakzaki and his followers within the IMN are called heretics and infidels who are deserving of death just because they are Shia, while another side labels them as dangerous terrorists who are deserving of being banned, imprisoned, and killed just because they speak out against their government. This Nigerian Shia community has been the victim of much senseless brutality within the past decade alone, with thousands of innocent Muslims having been murdered through countless raids and mass shootings. And Sheikh Zakzaki has seen much of this cruelty himself. He has been shot and injured several times, including having lost an eye. 6 of his sons have been martyred and become shaheed, and he and his wife have been unjustly detained within the prisons of Nigeria without trial for the past 5 years. And all of this oppression has taken place not just because they were Shia and they protested against an extremist group, or just because they were critical against their government, but also because of their firm ideological positions and their willingness to stand up against the oppressed. In fact, I believe that one of the strongest voices in the support of the Palestinian struggle is the voice of Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki and the Islamic movement of Nigeria, because nowhere in Africa will you find a group with such a huge influence and following, standing so firmly and yet so peacefully and lawfully in support for the people of Palestine. And yet still, our Nigerian brothers and sisters teach us that we shouldn't discriminate when it comes to giving aid and help to those in need of it. In fact, just this past week, Sheikh Zakzaki flagged off the distribution of food and medicine to over 111,000 unprivileged Nigerians to help with the fight against COVID-19, regardless of their religion. Over 111,000 people. And while he is still incarcerated, we have governments around the world currently struggling to feed their people and give them proper medical care. And here we have an individual and his organization being able to do just that while not being discriminatory in who receives their help. And yet, some would still accuse these people of being terrorists and infidels. Would a terrorist or infidel be so nonviolent and do such a humanitarian act? Would they be willing to help their fellow human beings regardless of their associations? Brothers and sisters, if you truly believe in justice and in opposing today's oppressors, we must take action and stand with our Nigerian brothers and sisters. We must demand amnesty for Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki and his wife, as well as their unlawfully incarcerated followers. And we must condemn the Boko Haram terrorists and the Nigerian government for their harassment of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Because if we don't act now, it could set an example that we are complicit in this sort of oppression taking place, and that the only oppression we care about on Al-Quds Day is what is happening in Palestine and in the Middle East, when our sights should be on the oppressed crying for help from all four corners of the globe, regardless of what religion, race, age, or gender they might belong to. Because Al-Quds Day isn't just a day for standing up for Palestinians, but for all those people who need standing up for them. And so on this day, I choose to stand for Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki and our Nigerian brothers and sisters. Thank you.